We're live. This is an experiment to see about Facebook Live, and yeah, we've been thinking about doing Facebook Live for a long time for the business to answer people's questions, and we thought it was actually a good way to be able to share ideas and talk to you all about how your business is going and what you want to cover. So this is the first Facebook Live that the Pop-Up Business Hall are doing. I'm Alan. I am sat here in my flat, and this is the plan. Facebook is building an audience for me, and I'm going to answer your questions. So that's what we're doing right now. Facebook has just said I can put a mask on myself if I want to. Tap the magic wand to try one. I'm not sure I'm ready for a mask at the moment. So I think it's fascinating how Facebook works and how it allows you to communicate with people. But part of the reason for doing this is we had a few comments on the page about how people deal with difficult days, how people deal with days when they get rejected by customers or they don't get the right business or whatever it is. Matt Jackson has just joined. Hello, Matt. I hope you're well. And it'd be interesting to see who else comes online today. But yeah, the first thing we wanted to talk about was the how do you deal with bad days? Because everyone has them. So what do you do when it doesn't go right? When it's a bad day, when it goes wrong? And well, I guess the first thing is we all have bad days. We all have bad days. We all have days where it doesn't go well, and it's all about how you react rather than the fact you don't actually have bad days. So what I think the real key is... Oh, Matt says good. Amy Parker says hello. Hello, Amy Parker. Hello, Matt Jackson. This is very cool being live and having comments. I've got Facebook in front of me right now. But yeah, what do you do if you have a bad day? What do you do if you lose a deal? And I've had plenty of bad days. I've had plenty of days when I've lost a deal. And how I react to those bad days has changed over the years. I think when I first started my business, if I had a bad call from someone that I was working with, or I lost the deal, or things didn't go well, I would actually hide from it. So I'd shut my laptop, I'd go and hide in the other room, I'd watch a video, I would do something else for a while. And I think my reactions have changed over the years, and so has the growth of my business. And now what happens if I have a bad day is I think, what can I do differently? What can I do next? Simon has this habit of asking me the question, what can you learn from this? And I think the questions you ask yourself when you have a bad day are so critical. So if you ask yourself, why me? Or what did I do to deserve this? You'll get poor quality answers and you won't make any progress. If you ask yourself, what can I learn from this? What can I do differently? Or how can I leverage this thing that's happened to me? Then you can start to make progress. And what you've got to do is react positively to bad things, because bad things are going to happen all the time. So anyway, there's 5 of you watching me right now, and this is meant to be all about you. So do you have any questions for me? If you do, put them in the comments below and start asking me questions. Start asking me different things about your business, promotion, anything about entrepreneurship, startup, all of that different stuff. And it's quite interesting sitting here. Facebook Live has a little ticker at the top which tells you how many people are watching, and then you get the comments that arrive down the below. Apparently we're up to 7 people watching now. Hello everyone. But do write me some comments so that I can see what's going on. I'd love to know how this works. Maybe I should just shut up and wait for someone to type something below. Is it going to pop up? Is it not? Are you still there, Matt? Are you still there, Amy? Is anyone there? Hello? Matt now says testing. That works. Thank you, Matt. It does actually work. Maya. Hello, Maya. Hello, Amy. Amy says, well done. You're still here. Yes, I am still here. You're still here. That's good. Hello, Maya. How's things going? Yeah, I'd love to know your questions. What can I do to help your business? What can I help you? What can I help you with? I'd love to know what you're planning. Hello! I love this, that we have live comments and they're popping up on my screen as we talk. I've actually built a little stand. Oh, there's a 20-second delay, is there, Matt? Aha. I'm glad you're great. That's good. And I love the comments coming through. I've built a little stand out of Lego for my phone, so I'm actually sat there with my phone on a Lego stand. I have my laptop next to me so I can see the comments, and they actually pop up on the screen as well. So yeah, the purpose of this Facebook Live was to help you to answer your questions, whatever those questions may be, about entrepreneurship, building a business, growing an audience, making sales, dealing with difficult problems, whatever it is. And that was the purpose of doing this Facebook Live, was to be able to engage with you and offer you support. So yeah, tell me what I can do to help you. What questions do you have? What do you need support with? I am here to help. Or I can just randomly chat to myself. I'm quite enjoying pulling silly faces as well. So number one question, how do you think smaller businesses can use Facebook Live for their businesses? We saw a fascinating example of how Facebook Live was used at the Reading Pop-Up Business School. We had someone there that did a knitting business. And what she did was she used, hi Colette, how are you? Nice to see you. So this particular knitting business had, they used the Facebook Live with a camera to look down on the lady doing knitting. And she Facebook Lived herself doing knitting and then answered questions all about knitting on Facebook. And the longer you do Facebook Live, as you're doing it, Facebook is actually out there popping up in people's news feeds and alerts telling them that you're live and online. So Facebook actually actively goes out, searches for an audience for you and brings them to you. Hey Jennifer, welcome. Boom indeed. It's good to have you here. I love this. I get to talk to all the people that I don't see very often. This is awesome. But Facebook is actually live, finding people to come on and talk to you. So what this lady did was she filmed herself knitting and answered questions. And that created incredible connections. So if you had a... Welcome Elizabeth Lee. If you had something that you can film, whether it's yourself asking questions, whether it's, and if it was Jennifer, it would be doing a demo of salsa. Do a live demo, get someone to hold the camera, start talking about salsa and what you can do, answering questions. But if you've got something to film, Facebook wants to build its live video business. And actually at the moment, Facebook video on Facebook is one of those things that they will find you an audience and bring people in. Hi Cara, welcome to the chat. So Facebook will actually bring people in. And we found with our posts that if you natively upload video to Facebook, and by native what I mean is you don't go put it on YouTube and then link to it on Facebook, you actually directly load it onto Facebook. That goes a lot further and gets you a bigger audience. And what we've also found is with Facebook Live, Facebook will go out and find you an audience that will connect with you on your subject. So it's actually a really good way to talk to people, and that's what we wanted to experiment with now. And part of what we do in this pop-up business school thing is we do experiments to find out what works and what doesn't work so that we can tell you. Hey Tom, hello from Orlando. I love that we have an international audience. Hey Tom. Elizabeth Lee says that they're struggling to find ideas to film that people want to watch. It's quite an interesting one. So what do people want to watch? People want entertainment, people want to learn something, people want to find out more about your business. One of the things that worked really well for us is the frequently asked questions. So what we do is, from our events, we continually get asked different questions, and those questions we capture, and that is the content we then put onto our YouTube channel. And the questions that come up the most regularly are the ones we answer. So about your subject, about what you're doing, Elizabeth, find out what people are regularly asking and create content to answer those questions. So with the knitting lady, they were asking, how do you do this pattern, how do you do this stitch? And she would film herself doing it and answer the questions. Had another question or a comment from How. Did you get any feedback on the Reading stall holders from last weekend, and was it successful? Did get some feedback. Maya was there. I know people made sales. I know it was also an interesting challenge, because what you had was the stand was in the middle between Superdry and Hollister, and people would come along, sort of partition round the stand, which was just 2 tables sat in the middle, and then go back round the other side and continue walking. And the toughest bit, I think, the stall holders found was to engage with the people who are walking past. So if you say things like, are you looking for anything, or can I help you, the automatic answer is no. And people keep on walking. And I know that our pet person who was there on the day was actually starting to ask, do you have any pets? What pets do you have? And asking different questions. And those questions were bringing people in. So that is a really interesting tip that you can use, is the questions you ask yourself will determine the responses you get from people. So I think it was an interesting learning experience doing the trading in the Oracle for everyone, and I know some people made some good sales, some didn't, but it's definitely an interesting learning experience. Elizabeth from Smarty Party says she'll have a go. Yeah, I think it was an interesting one, Elizabeth. Facebook Live. Have a go. Let me know what you'd create. Maybe the Facebook Live for you is actually about how do you organise a birthday party, or how do you create a great birthday party. Amy says, is the Reading reunion still going ahead on Wednesday? Would be great to hear about everyone's progress. I am planning on being there, so I'm really looking forward to it, Amy. I'm just looking up the details now. I know they said it was in Malmaison in the centre of town. I've got a morning meeting at the university, and then I'm going to come straight back over. So I'm getting my diary up now. We're planning on... Yeah, the Reading Union was from 10 o'clock at Malmaison Brasserie in Reading, which is just by the station. I'm going to go over to the university and then pop back to Malmaison afterwards to come and find you all. So I'm really looking forward to seeing you in Reading for the reunion tomorrow. Oh, and Cara says Newport PopUp are having a reunion tomorrow as well. Where are you meeting, Cara? Let us know and we'll post about it. So there's a Newport reunion tomorrow as well. And I think this is one of the things I love about Pop-Up Business School at the moment, is you've got all these different groups of entrepreneurs all over the country, with Newport and Reading and Leeds, and we're going to be coming in Dover. And there's all these ideas that come together. And I've really loved looking at Facebook Live, the Facebook support group recently. So if you've not joined yet, we have a support group where you can put your questions. It's a private, closed group, so that any questions about your business you put there, you get answers from all around the country. And we've got people like John Padmore from Kent who answers those questions. He's got some great insights to what you can do. Catherine Ledger put up a question earlier from the Reading group about what do you do about working with friends and how do you manage that. And that group works really well. We've had a question from Robert. Are we doing Leeds again? And yes, Simon and I were talking about events this morning, and Leeds is on our list. The council seems very excited after the last event and it went so well. Bruntwood were the people who lent us the venue, and they say they've got a venue that they can lend us by the station. So now what we're looking to do is bring together the other funders to bring the cash to come up and do Leeds again. I would have said we'd probably do Leeds again before the end of the year if everything goes well. And I know that nearby we've had good support from Bolton, so I'm thinking that Bolton would be a good place to go as well, and I know that's nearby. So we will be coming back to Leeds. Yes. So if you've just joined, this is the first experiment. Oh, and Facebook says, congratulations, this is our most liked video yet. Unbelievable. Robert says he's got a friend that would come to the Leeds one. Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, please send them along. Colette says, oh, they've got regular meetups in Swale, but after the initial meetup of several people, only Sally May is keen. Do I have any suggestions about how to bring people back together? Yeah, Colette, I'm coming down to Kent very soon. I'm coming to Swale whilst we've got the Dover Pop-Up Business School on. So on Thursday the 18th, I'll be in Swale. How about we organise with you, Colette, in Kent, a Swale reunion on Thursday the 18th of May? Would you be available for that day? Let me know. I'll get Henry and Jack to organise it. We'll put it out and we'll organise everyone, bring them back together and get the energy going again. So let's do it on that day, Thursday 18th, around lunchtime. Let's all meet up for coffee somewhere, maybe Sittingbourne High Street. Maybe you know somewhere nice. But yeah, let's get together. And I think that's a fascinating one. We have different groups in different parts of the country that have stayed together and kept that energy and motivation together and kept meeting for coffee. And we've had other groups that have stopped meeting. And I'm not really sure what the magic is totally. I think it takes someone to pull it together to have the energy to do it. And then it's making sure those meetings are high energy. And I know that I'll go along to meetings that are high energy, but if you lose the energy, it drops off and people stop coming back. So it's keeping that energy up and keeping the focus on how you can support people. Colette says she makes sure she'll be available. Yeah, let's organise that. Colette will do that. Jack and Henry, organise the dates with Colette, please. Let's get a reunion on that Thursday the 18th whilst we're down there. So yeah, if you just joined, the purpose of this Facebook Live is to answer your questions on entrepreneurship, business startup and support, and to help you grow your businesses. And this is the first one we have done. It's the first test. Matt Jackson asks, what are your tips for having maximum energy? Ooh, good one, Matt. So what I've been riffing with Simon recently, that actually it's not time that is lacking in most people's lives to create a business. It is energy. And what I've noticed is people come home from work and they maybe have time in the evening, but what they do is they sit on the couch and watch telly, or they read, or they do something else because they don't have the energy to be able to make their business work. But actually what you need to do is put energy into it, and it's all about your energy. The energy for the meetings, the energy for your Facebook Live, the energy for tweeting and Facebooking, the energy to do stuff. And you have got to have maximum energy. So the question is, where does energy come from? Now, I asked this question at a recent workshop and said, where does energy come from? And the first answer you normally get is energy comes from food, and that's not true. You need food to operate, obviously, but energy does not come from food. I know plenty of people that eat a lot of food and don't have any energy. And I know from my own experience, if you have a massive Sunday meal and you kind of feel a bit full, you've eaten a lot of food, but you don't have any energy. So energy doesn't necessarily come from food, energy comes from somewhere else. But I do think your diet plays a massive, massive role in how much energy you have. So focusing on a good diet, plenty of greens and vegetables and all that stuff, no sugar, sugar is evil. And then the second bit I would have said is your motivation, so the big reason why. So why are you actually doing what you're doing? So if you've got your diet right, you're doing some exercise, and you have a big enough why. If you have a big enough why, how becomes possible. So the why is, why are you starting your business? Why do you want to make it success? Why do you want to do this? And if you have a huge why, then that gives you the energy and the motivation to find the how. So my tips on energy would be sort out the diet, don't have any sugar. Do exercise, go walking, hit your 10,000 steps a day, and have a huge why. Why are you doing this? To help other people, to help yourself, to help your family. Get the why going. Get the why going. That's so important. So we've had Kara's left me a message as well, which I'm just about to try and find. Kara says, I've definitely made progress since PopUp, but I find myself getting overwhelmed sometimes. Kara, you and me both. I felt overwhelmed this morning about the amount of stuff I had to do. And then you lose confidence. It happens to the best of us. If you were to start a business again, what would be the first 3 things? And this is when it then cuts off the message. How can I see the rest of the message? I'm trying to find the rest of the message. I'll check on Facebook on the main screen. Bear with me, Cara. I'm trying to read the rest of the question. The first 3 things you would do. What are the first 3 things we'd do if I was starting a business again? Cool. So the first 3 things that I would do if I was starting a business again. The first 3 things I would do. Number 1, think of the audience that you're selling to first. And I think when I first started, I sold a pop-up business school to a housing association. But then the mistake I made was after that one sale was I didn't go out and find every other housing association in the country and sell to them. And I didn't go big enough. So I would focus on the audience you're going to sell to. Find someone that buys it and buys into it, and you can work out why they buy. And then go and find every other person, customer, organisation like that you could continue to sell to. So I'd focus on the audience, because finding out specifically who you can sell to is so important. And one of the things that I've learned is that most of the people who come along to the Pop-Up Business School, they come back 6 months later. The ones that have made progress have been out there selling. They've really focused on sales first. And actually, some of them haven't even bothered doing a website. They've just got out there and sold it. Some of them haven't even bothered working on anything else. They've just sold it. And those are the people who've made progress. And once they've got sales, then they have to put everything in place afterwards. But they focus on sales first. And the people who haven't made progress come back in and go, I haven't made any sales. And normally I say, okay, what sales activity have you been doing? And the answer normally comes back, well, I contacted a few people, but then I lost motivation or I lost energy and I didn't do the sales work. So if we can focus on your audience and then get you to work on sales, speaking to people, making calls, doing stuff, and don't just rely on social media, don't just rely on Facebook, Twitter, don't rely on a website, sell. Focus all your energy on sales, and that sales can be phone calls, emails and other stuff. And I know that a couple of times people have come back to me and said, I've sent out emails but no one have responded and I feel a bit lost about what to do next. And I've definitely learnt over the time that I've been running the business that people don't respond to emails. I struggle responding to emails, and what we need to do is focus on making the sales. So if I was to start my business again, I would put all of my energy into making those sales. That would be what I would do. Robert says that he has found doing a small task and keep doing small tasks can help with motivation. I absolutely agree with you, Robert, that doing one little thing off your to-do list will help you get started. Breaking those big things down into smaller chunks can help you get started, because sometimes you can feel overwhelmed with it all. I think this morning that was exactly my problem. I looked at what I was doing, and top of my list was the national tour. And we're trying to organise a tour of the UK for Pop-Up Business School to go to all these different venues. And if I look at it as the national tour, that's overwhelming and it's huge, absolutely huge. But if I break it down to, I'm going to work, I've got to just organise Birmingham. Where do I start with Birmingham? And then Brent Cross, and then Bristol, and I break it down to those chunks. It's far easier, far easier. And Colette's saying a similar thing. Once we get started on those smallest of actions, the energy comes to tackle the harder actions. I think you're absolutely right, Colette. Once you see a little bit of success, then you start to get the buzz and do more and do more and do more. And it's about getting that one first success or one first sale under your belt, and you really start to make progress. So I guess my biggest tip would be focus on the sales. Focus on the sales. So do you have 3 friends that you can ring to tell them about your business? Do you have, did you know that you can download your connection list from LinkedIn? So on LinkedIn, you can actually export all the email addresses of your connections. Do that, email them all, and then phone them one by one to tell them about your business. The more people you tell about your business, what you're doing, what you're selling, the further you'll go. But it's that focus on taking those actions. And Robert and Colette are absolutely right that if you do those small tasks and focus on getting it done, then you'll start to sell things. You'll start to make progress. And if you don't sell anything, that's really good feedback, because if you're not selling, first off, are you doing the sales activity? And if you are doing the sales activity, then we can work out, well, is it the price, is it the description, or is it the audience? That's the bit. But if you're not doing the sales activity, then we can't work out what you're doing. Gerald's just joined us. Hello, Gerald. Well done on sending out your email at the weekend. I got it. Fantastic. I hope that worked really well. Yeah, so for all of us, I think sales is one of the key bits. Sales is absolutely one of the key bits. If you can focus on getting the sales, it'll keep you going. Awesome. We've had a question. What 3 things wouldn't you do if you were starting again? What 3 things wouldn't you do if you were starting again? So if I was starting the business again, I think what I did was I had delusions of grandeur. So I was thinking my business would be giant. It would be absolutely massive. And I was already planning I would have these trainers delivering it, and I'll be global, and I'll have a big brand, and I'll do this, and I'll do this. And I put so much of my energy and thought into the future planning of the business that I didn't do the sales at the start that I needed to do to actually grow it. And I think that's one of the key bits. That's one of the massive lessons for me. So I would not put too much thought into the future of the business. I would spend more of my time getting out there and selling it right from the start. Right from the start, getting straight out there. And I think that's what I would do. So I would not spend too much time planning the future. I'd take massive action. I would not spend money on someone else designing my website for me. That was an absolute nightmare. I had no control over it. And I would not take so long hiring Henry. Don't tell Henry that. But actually, like hiring my first person, I probably should have done a year earlier, maybe 2 years earlier, and I would have made more progress. So reinvesting the money I'd earned into hiring someone would have been something that I would have done. So that's the 3 questions, that's the 3 answers. Hi Gerald. Cara says thanks. Thanks Cara, it's a pleasure. Jennifer says, one of the things that stood out for her from the course was the ask 7 times. You don't know until the 7th time. And yeah, it's so critical. I've got so many examples of people have not responded to me the first 5 times, and I keep chasing and I keep chasing and I keep chasing, and then eventually they come back to me and they apologise. And people are busy and people are lazy, and quite often you have to keep going and keep going and keep going and keep going to get the answer you want. And it's not because they don't want to work with you, it's just they're busy, they've got other priorities, they're doing other stuff, and you've got to chase them. You've got to chase them, so you've got to bang on the door. And having the confidence, energy and motivation to do that is so critical. And I think if I could give you all one sort of tip on that stuff, it is that your attachment to your mission, like what are you doing with your business? Who are you helping? How are you growing it? What's the benefit? Your attachment to your purpose drives the energy for you to keep going through that tough time to get in contact with people. So if Jennifer's doing salsa classes that give people energy, help them to feel happier, help them to feel healthier and all that stuff, if we're really clear on the vision of what we're doing and how we're going, that enables us to go through the 6 no's to get to the 7th yes. And a lot of your success in life is your ability to go through no's and uncomfortable situations to get to the answer you want. I think that's so critical. Elizabeth says, wish I could stay to hear more, but I'm working. Great advice, looking forward to the next one. Thanks Elizabeth, goodbye. Thank you for listening. Damn jobs, they always get in the way. Unbelievable. Yeah, and this is the first time we've done Facebook Live. So if you're just tuning in, the purpose for this Monday inspiration on Facebook Live is to answer your questions, give you ideas, help you focus on your business, and share some of the things we've learned from making mistakes in our own business. So please do post your questions in the comments and they pop up on the screen for me, and then I'm able to answer what you want to answer. And I think it's fascinating. We're actually going to use your questions to start creating content to be able to help you. So I'd love to know what questions you have about growing a business, whether it's online, Facebook, Twitter, whether it's sales calls, phone calls, having the confidence to make calls. How can I help you grow your business the most? So look, I'm just going to grab a drink of water because my throat is getting particularly dry and I was not prepared when we start this. So please type your questions now whilst I get a water, and I will be back in 60 seconds. Okay, I'm back. I have water. This is very important. Next time I'll be more prepared. Matt, I bet you are counting. You know what? It takes a lot of energy to talk randomly at your phone in a completely silent room for an hour. Your questions and comments are what is keeping me going. So what can we help you with? What can we help you work on? What are the top things you need? And one of the things we're going to be doing at the Pop-Up Business School is contacting all of you, the past participants of the course, to work out where you've got to after the course. And then we're going to start to develop content, ideas, workshops that will help you reach the next level. Because I think it's fascinating that each of our businesses take journeys. and you go through different levels and different stages, and you get different problems, and it's how you can grow from there. So we've had a few questions come in. Robert says, I want to be a presenter, host of a live show similar to this. Where can I read up on, learn on this? Robert, go to Toastmasters. There is nothing better than going to Toastmasters, learning how to present or communicate. It's an incredible place to go and enter the competitions. That's what I did. I entered the contests, and I also read a lot of books on presenting. If you want to look about some online resources for presenting, then I would recommend looking up Craig Valentine and Darren LaCroix. They're previous world champions of public speaking. They have some fantastic content about presenting and speaking. So have a look up at those guys and go to Toastmasters, get yourself signed up and start presenting there. You will start to develop the skills. Colette says, Alan, as always, inspiration listening to you. Wanted to know how to encourage organisations that support community initiatives to choose your initiative over the others clamouring for the funding. That's a fascinating one, Colette, and I had a really interesting experience in Dover when I went to an event to pitch for money to support an event. And I was actually called by one of the other organisations clamouring for the funding. I was called a wanker in front of everyone else, which is quite interesting when you're in front of an audience of 20 and one of the other organisations says that, and how do you deal with it? So how do you encourage organisations that support community issues to choose your initiative over theirs? How we do it is, number one, we focus on what the result they want to get. And every one of these community organisations wants to get a result. The housing associations we work with normally want to help people get back to work, to start small businesses, to support their residents. They have a whole list of targets they want to achieve, and we offer something that they can't do. And quite often that is engaging with their audiences, filling rooms with people. So you look at what's the objectives the community organisation wants to achieve, and then what's their pain point, or what's stopping them from achieving it. And that pain point is then where you can differentiate yourself. So we look to show how we are the opposite of what else is out there. So one of the ways to go is, well, if all these other organisations are offering this, this and this, how are we different? How are we the opposite? How do we stand out? For us, we stand out because we don't do business plans. We stand out because we don't do startup loans. We will not put people in debt when they're starting. That's the last thing we ever want to do, and we tell them very strongly that. So our advice is the opposite from quite a lot of the other organisations that are going for the same funding that we're going for, and that's how we stand out. So one of the key questions is, how are you the opposite? And how do you help the organisation you want to get funding from to achieve its targets? Those are the main ones. Dave says, what's a great way of finding the perfect team to join you? Dave, we've just been going through this actually. It's quite interesting. So we have a team of 7 now. 7 people, which just blown my mind. I hired 2 new people last week. We had 2 new starters today. So welcome to the team, Caitlin, and welcome to the team, Ben, as well. So how did we find the team? We found Jack, our YouTuber, by going to the local college and asking the media course leader who his best student was. And he organised a coffee for me with Jack, and we hired him on the spot. Our 2 most recent hires, one has come through friends. I always like to start with your network, because if you ask on Facebook, who do you know who could do this job, and you get a recommendation, you've kind of already pre-qualified those people. We have used the apprenticeship scheme to hire Caitlin, so she's come on through the apprenticeship scheme, and we did that through Basingstoke College of Technology. I found Henry because he was a friend and he pestered me for a job, and nearly everyone we've hired has come through our network or recommendations. That's been nearly always the way. The key thing I think we look for is cultural fit and how they're going to fit in with the culture. You can train skills, but some of the cultural pieces are so important. So one of the questions that I was asking at interview last week was, what's the biggest thing you bring to our company? And Caitlin's answer to that was what actually sold us on hiring her. So I asked, what's the biggest thing you can bring to our business? And she said, happiness. She said, it might be a cheesy answer, but I bring happiness. I'm fun to be around. I'm great fun to work. And that was just such a brilliant answer. We wanted to hire her on the spot. So I would say the local college, your network, ask on Facebook, ask friends. That's how you find the team that you really want to work with. It's all about the network. Jennifer says, one cheeky question. Did you find my Prada sunglasses from the Reading event? Jennifer, there was nothing there when we left. We searched the whole place. I heard nothing about it. So if anyone's from Reading and you found some Prada sunglasses, please let Jennifer know. She's lost them. We need to find those. Amy says, do you know what is the best company to order flyers from? Ones that are good quality but not super pricey. Amy, I've used printing.com before. You can get quite high volumes from there from a reasonably low price. Actually, I don't have a super great answer for you at the moment. Let's post that in the Facebook support group and ask there, because I'm sure the 700 odd entrepreneurs in there will have lots of ideas of how we can get cheap flyers. Or Henry. Henry, can you answer Amy's answer? Matt says, are you a fan of audiobooks? And if you are, what are your favourites for business self-improvement? Matt, I love audiobooks. I love podcasts. I love to read. I think for self-improvement, Simon and I continuously continuously say, spend as much time working on your confidence as you do working on your business. So one of the things I would say is working on confidence is a great place to go. I loved Paul McKenna's book on confidence, and I do actually listen to the Hypnosis CD. That has helped me. Richard Bandler's material is fantastic. The short book, Notes from a Friend by Tony Robbins, is incredible. And I must admit, I'm really enjoying listening to podcasts at the moment. I listen to Smart Passive Income, the Tim Ferriss podcast, Choose FI, which is Choose Financial Independence, and some of those things. The more you study about confidence, business, motivation and health, the more successful you get, or at least that's been my experience with this. The more I invest in myself, the more valuable I am to other people. Simon says, I wonder what would add the most valuable to people I wonder what would add the most value to people watching us on Facebook Live. Good question, Simon. If you're listening right now, what would add the most value to you through this Facebook Live? So please comment below. How can we add more value to your business? And I'll start to answer those. Colette says, thanks, helpful. That's awesome. She's also responded to Simon's question. Could we have someone listening to the topics and questions asked to the side of the Facebook Live so that we can see them without scrolling down the feed? Interesting. Maybe we can do that. Let's have a look at that. Matt and Jack, let's add that to what we need to do. So look, I can't believe we've been live for 43 minutes now. There's 16 of you watching, which is lovely. Hello, thank you for tuning in. The whole purpose of doing this Monday Inspiration is to help you with your business. And I think I have a message I really want to give you. So do comment on this and let me know what you think. And if you like it, then press the like button. My personal opinion is you can have anything you want in life if you're willing to pay the price up front and in advance and in full. So you can achieve anything you want in life if you pay the price first. What I think that happens with most people is they don't want to pay the price first. They want to see some success first, and then they'll invest second. And the universe, life, the way business works, it doesn't work like that. You've got to invest first, and then it happens second. And I guess one of the examples of that Pop-Up Business School were featured on the Mr. Money Mustache blog last week, and we had 23 people or 25 people contact us from America, all saying they would like the Pop-Up Business School to come to America. And I have always wanted to go and work in America and grow the business in America. So I could either wait for those people to get me funding. Oh, Kelly's joined. Hello, Kelly. I could either wait for those people to get me the funding to go out to America, or I could pay the price up front and in full, and I could pay to go to America to create the connections to then be able to get the deal to do the business. And I think if I wait for the money to come to me first, it won't come. So what I'm going to do is go out to the States and do a tour of all the different areas in the States that have connected to us and wanted a workshop on how to start a business for free. And I'm going to do that for free to start with. Oh, and Kathy Goff joined as well. Hello, Kathy. Welcome. So I'm going to pay the price up front and in full to get where we want to get to. And I think the key is you've got incredible free tools like Facebook, Twitter, you can build websites on Weebly that allow you to communicate with the world and get out there. If you do that and put the energy out there, then it'll all come back to you. Colette says she's applying the same principle at the moment, putting up small bins for community recycling locally and then expecting the council to get involved. The key there, Colette, is make sure after you've done the bit that then you need to do the second part, which is closing the council, contacting them, reading them and making sure they take the next action, because it's all very well putting the energy in, but if you don't close afterwards. So you can have anything you want in life if you pay the price up front and in full and then close afterwards. You've got to close the action. Dave said you'd go, it'll be amazing. And Jennifer says you can help with American contacts. Jennifer, I would love that. Yes, please. That would be fantastic. We're working on taking it to America and finding the right people, and that's one of the next steps. Obviously, after we've been to Dover, which is coming up next, and then we've got Manchester in July. We're also working on the national tour. So we've got Hammerson are the owner of a lot of the shopping centres in the UK. They own Brent Cross, the Bullring, Bicester Village, and some of the other larger shopping centres. And they've given us 13 of their venues around the country, plus some money to run pop-up business schools. And we're using their venues and cash to leverage that to get the rest of the money from councils, housing associations and other partners to be able to get the pop-up business schools around the country. And that's quite often how we do it. We have to get a range of partners together to be able to sell a pop-up business school. So I will bring together a group of people, normally with the assistance of a council, to be able to fund that different thing in the different area. So we leverage Hammerson's cash and Hammerson's bits to be able to pull together those partners which then invest in the project. So if you're selling a community project, having one partner who will agree to some of the money can help you unlock all of the business you need. Maddie Woodman's joined. Hello, Maddie from Reading University. Welcome. So if you're just joining, we're live on Facebook. This is our first ever experiment. And what we wanted to do was answer your questions, engage with you and give you ideas and inspiration on a Monday and support you with it. So what we wanted to do was help you with your business, help you to grow. Jennifer's just asked if I'll be speaking at TEDx Reading. I've spoken to Mark Binns at TEDx Reading, and I'm going to be putting forward a bid. I've just been slow writing it. And yes, hopefully I'll be there at TEDx Reading. I really want to do one. It'll be fantastic. And actually getting on the main stage of TED is one of my long-term goals. Rebecca said it would be useful for some tips for converting all the floundering I'm doing on social media into sales. Idea for a future event maybe. So Rebecca would like to know, how do you convert the conversations on social media into sales? So I guess there's a few things Number one is having a specific landing page. You have the conversation on Facebook or Twitter or wherever it is, and that has to lead to a specific landing page on your website or on Eventbrite or somewhere that sells something and closes. Number two is, if you're not using social to drive traffic to a landing page to make the sales, use it to connect with people in a different way. So use it to get phone numbers, and then take the communication off social and bring it into real life and make phone calls. There is nothing like the phone for making sales. It's one of the most powerful tools you could ever use. So number one is drive towards a specific landing page that closes sales. Number two is get it off Facebook and use the phone. And I think number three is get coffee meetings. So for us, social media gets people to visit the landing page to sign up to our events, or if we're actually selling a bigger value item, it leads to phone calls and face-to-face coffee meetings. So I don't think Facebook, Twitter, social is always the way to go to actually make the sale, but it creates the contacts that you can then close in different ways. So if you can use that conversation to get contact details and find them in a different way, and then take them off and Skype them, email them, take them to a landing page that closes the sale. And yes, I think we need to do more on this, Rebecca. We'll put it down as an idea for a future video and we'll get one done for you. Colette says, how can we help your tour? Get local job centres to join in. Colette, if you want to help the local tour, the national tour, I would love that. Yeah, basically what we really need is the housing associations and the councils in the different areas to be able to build the national tour. That's what we're working on. So if you want to help with that, then drop me an email, send me a message, and I will help you. Jennifer says, get off your ass and write it. I promise to get off my ass and write it. You're right. Kathy Goss says, looking and sounding great, Al. Kathy, I love you too. Thank you very much. Matt Jackson says, jab, 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 right hook. Which, for those of you who don't know where that quote comes from, that is actually from Gary Vaynerchuk. And what he says is it's a bit like boxing on social media to close business. And what you do is jab with conversation, jab with conversation, jab with conversation. And the right hook, or the closing bit, is where you ask for the sale. So we have the conversation, the conversation, the conversation, and then we say, buy my book. Or we actually have a direct closing question. So would you prefer it here or here? Would you like to buy this or this? If you want more information, let's talk. Let's book a date in the diary. But it's that closing right hook. So Matt's absolutely right there. The jab, jab, jab is the conversation and creating relationship. And then the close is the right hook. And the close is what gets the business. Maddie, thanks for sharing the video. I appreciate it. It's our first ever Facebook Live, and we're here to answer people's questions on entrepreneurship and startup support. So if you've got questions, post them in the comment below and we will answer them and helping them. Matt says it's all about earning the opening for the right hook. Ooh, good comment, Matt. Absolutely. Earning the opening for the right hook. And I think it's a fascinating one. However you earn that opening for the right hook or the close, whether it's connecting on social, sending emails, making phone calls, you have to create the connection and build trust to then be able to close. But you've got to have a close. And one of the things that I've noticed with a lot of our participants is that they do all the early stuff, but they're not closing. And closing is one of the key bits. So you've got to be able to close to be able to get the business going. So it's all very well doing the jab, jab, jabs, but you've got to be able to close. And closing is essential. And closing is that uncomfortable moment. So when you actually get to the end of the meeting, you then say, so the next steps are this. And you kind of shut up and wait. And it's your ability to have that uncomfortable moment and ask the direct question. So are we going to do this or not? Are we going to run with this? Are you going to support it? Are you going to put in the cash? But it's that uncomfortable moment where you've got to ask the direct question. And it's not very British. It is not very British at all, because we don't like doing that. You see it as confrontationalism, but you've got to do it. You've got to ask the direct question. If you don't close, if you don't ask the direct question, you will not get the business. So please, if you're going to take one thing away from today's Facebook Live Monday Inspiration, is close. Ask the direct question to be able to get the business. Maddie says it's great. Thank you, Maddie, for saying it's great. Gerald says, are you planning to do these regularly? I stumbled across you a bit. Haven't had time to think of any good questions. Gerald, get your thinking cap on. No, you can ask me questions anytime, Gerald. Yeah, we are actually planning on doing more of these. I've actually really enjoyed it. We didn't actually know how this would work, how it would go. We've actually got 21 people tuned in live right now asking questions. And this is the first one we've done. I've really enjoyed it. I think it's great fun. We're going to do more of this. It actually enables me to be closer to you, to answer your real questions and to get a feel of what you need in your business and what support you need from us to grow. So what I would really love is your questions, your thoughts, your comments. Just share them with us and we're going to work on this. So we are going to do another one. Henry, Jack, Matt, Simon, let's do another one of these. Let's book it in. Maybe in a couple of weeks' time, we'll book a date. We'll make sure we send out an email, Gerald, so that you know when it's on. And we'll book a date to answer your questions. And, well, hopefully you've come up with some good ones by then. That's the plan. Yeah, so we've got about 5 minutes or so left before the end of our Facebook Live. I'd love to know, is there anything else you need to cover in the last 5 minutes? So if you've got any last comments or questions, put them in the comments below and we'll answer them. And if we don't have time to get to them today, then I will make sure I do a video with Jack answering your questions. They actually say in terms of public speaking, you lose about a pint an hour if you're the one talking, which is why I find it so hard to stay hydrated when I'm running the workshops for you all, because I'm running around lots of energy, burning off lots of water, and I need to take in a lot of fluid. But yes, so that was the purpose of today, was to give you the inspiration. Alison Wicker has just joined. That's my mother-in-law. Hello, Alison. Welcome to the show. Gerald says, what's the best way to grow your Twitter following? Gerald, I think actually, number one, Gary Vaynerchuk would say time in the trenches. And what do we mean by that? It is getting in and talking to people. So if your subject, Gerald, and I know this, is property, what you need to do is use search on Twitter to find everyone that is talking about property and message them all. Hello, Alison. And message them all, connect with them all. The more people you talk to, the more people you connect with, the more people that will come and follow you. And it's about creating those conversations with the people who will be interested in your business. So the number one way to grow your Twitter following is to search for people that are interested in your subject, follow them, talk to them, create conversation. The more you talk to people that are interested in your subject, the more you connect, the more deeply you'll connect with people that will be interested in what you're doing, and the more likely they are to buy from you. So get on Twitter, use search, find people interested in your subject and start talking to them. And I'm not just talking about sending 5 messages a day, I'm talking about sending 50 messages, 100 messages, 200 messages. Actually get on there and really commit energy. That's going to be the quickest way for you to build your channel around property. Second, I would be finding people who already have a channel about property and talking to the people that follow them. Find the hashtags about property, start talking to them. The more you get involved in the property community, the more that you will be able to talk to them. Matt Jackson actually says he thinks it's a value exchange. Give them what they need before you ask for them what you want. Yeah, and if you talk to people about property and give them content about property, give them your newsletter, give them the items, then you'll be able to grow that following. The number one is search for people and start talking to them. Colette says she's looking up venue details for Dover pop-up. Can we bring new people along from out of area? Absolutely, Colette. Please feel free to bring anyone along to any of our events. All our events are completely free. They are always funded by someone else, and we give them away for free. So if you have friends that you want to bring along to the Dover one or the Manchester one, the nearest one coming up to London is going to be in Hounslow. I'm just working on the dates for that at the moment. So we'll have one in Hounslow. The dates will be announced in the next couple of weeks. I'm working on the venue at the moment. If you want to bring someone along, please bring them on to the Pop-Up Business School, and we will happily help them to start up businesses and make money doing what they love for free. So look, the time is 3 o'clock. That's been our first ever Facebook hour. We've covered so much stuff in the last hour. It's been incredible. I've really enjoyed it. Thank you for your questions and your energy. It's been great. We're going to do another one of these. Before I close, Rebecca's just asked me a question. She says she's struggling with how to differentiate between what I post on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram, and to a lesser extent LinkedIn. You end up putting the same thing on all of them. Now here's the bit. Each channel, Facebook, Twitter, Gerald says thanks, inspiring as always, look good to the next one. Thanks, Gerald. Each channel, Facebook, Twitter and Instagram, has slightly different audiences and slightly different needs and different age demographics. The audience on Facebook is different to the audience on Instagram, and they expect different things. So the question is, which channel should you use where your audience actually are? And I think if you're trying to do Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, every single channel on your own, it's going to be really difficult to do. So what I would do is I would pick the one or two that you're going to focus on and really focus in on those. Work out who your audience is and what they want to see. If it's Instagram, it's all about the pictures and the hashtags. If it's Twitter, it's all about the conversation and connecting with people. If it's Facebook, it's all about getting in groups, using video and going Facebook Live. If it's LinkedIn, it's about getting in the groups, finding the connections and then contacting them off of LinkedIn. LinkedIn should be the thing that then leads to a conversation somewhere else. So I think what you need to do is think about the audience on each platform and what they'd be willing to see. So look, it's 3:02. That brings me to the end of our first ever Facebook hour. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for sharing your questions and comments. If you've got more questions, put them in the comments below and we'll collect them for the next Facebook Live. We'll let you know when the next Facebook Live is going to be. And we're really looking forward to you. You are always welcome to come back to an event if you want to top up on social media or if you want to top up on the Facebook stuff. You're always welcome to come back. If you want a reunion event in your town, message us, let us know, and we'll help you organise it. The main thing for myself, Simon, Henry, Jack and the rest of the team is we want to help you be successful with your business. Nothing would make me happier than if you made loads of sales, had a lot of fun and made some cash. So tell us what support you need to do that and we will help you do it. Thanks for tuning in today. It's been fantastic to chat. Have a good afternoon. Press like if you enjoyed this and I'll see you all soon. Goodbye.